For the first time, the ADAC Formula 4 Championship supports the DTM. The teams are back at Oschersleben. It's the first time the championship has returned to a venue at which it has raced this year. Jano Esmar yet to win, but already having had 2 poles at the Nürburgring, he's on pole for race 1. And with him is Joel Eriksson, mid-season championship leader. He's now dropped to 2nd. He's had 5 race wins, but he knows he's got to score well here. Joey Mawson will line up 3rd on the grid, winner last time out at the Sachsenring. And 4th is Marvin Deans, the man who leads the championship. And although he's an experienced single-seater racer, he has had this unprecedented 7 race victories this year. There he is for the HTP junior team. 30 minutes in prospect. It's a long race for the young Chargers, the future of German single-seater racing. David Addison and Dave Richardson trackside, and looking forward to a race that's bound on this circuit to create some drama.
Do you know what? It was going back some months now. I had the privilege of being here for the first ADAC Formula 4 race. And what a race it was. Of course, it was a race that saw Mick Schumacher on the podium as best rookie, and then saw Mick Schumacher on the podium having taken a win in race 3. Okay, that was safety car affected, there's no question about that. But yes, it was a great day, and expecting the same from the likes of Michael Walter and all the others that are in this race as the ADAC Formula 4, which has been hugely successful. Returns, as you say, for the first time here to Oschersleben. David Beckman then in one of the ADAC Motorsport cars. And some names to look out for the future, and some very big and established team names in the ADAC Formula 4, isn't there?
Yeah, you've got the likes of Prema, of Mucker. There is Motor Park, which is based here anyway, yes. So looking for a home victory, as it were. There's Jense with a good history. There's Van Amersfoort, which of course runs also in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship, and many other burgeoning teams like HTP as well. Mick Schumacher was a winner here in the 3rd race back at the start of the season. Since then, he's had dramas like breaking a bone in his hand. He's also had to learn about some new circuits, all under a very bright spotlight. But Mick Schumacher has been a race winner this year, and here he starts a little bit further back than he would like on the grid. But 8th is not bad. He can make progress for that. And the man to beat really has been Marvin Deans. Now, Jano Esmar, 2 poles at the Nürburgring, but was a little bit sluggish away in both races.
Oh, right.
So it's going to be fascinating to see whether he's improved his starts. He was one of a number of drivers to find himself in the wrong place at the wrong time last time out at the Sachsenring. But the green lights go on, the car's released, then now on to the warming up lap, a chance to get warmth into the Pirelli rubber on which they will run. It's round 19 of the championship, so 18 races we've had, and only one of them has gone without a safety car. Right. Hashtag just saying. So the field, apart from one straggler, gets away, and who was that that was a bit slow out of the blocks?
Niederhauser or Holder? Right.
Might have been Niederhauser, let's have a look, but as the cars weave their way around to generate some temperature into the tyres. Late afternoon sun now starting to set as well. Visibility, bright sunshine in the eyes of the drivers could be a factor in all of this. So Jano Esmar it is on pole position. Joel Eriksson, 2nd in the championship, lines up with him ahead of Joey Mawson and Marvin Deans. Then Michael Walter and David Beckman ahead of Tim Zimmerman, Mick Schumacher, Robert Schwarzman and Marek Buchmann ahead of Kim Louis Schramm. Then it's Tony Vol from Job van Outert. Cedric Pirot comes next ahead of Camille Alberti, and look further down the grid. Jonathan Cecotto starts 24th with a grid drop given to him for his part in an accident going into turn 1 at the Sachsenring, which was pretty spectacular. He wiped out Michael Walter, his teammate, but in fairness, Cecotto did get a bit of a squeeze. But anyway, he was judged with a guilty party, so he copped a penalty, and it is Marilyn Niederhauser who will start at the back of the grid then. So as the cars work their way up towards the staggered grid, 30 minutes, not a set number of laps. Here is the lap, 3.6 kilometres long. Long, fast pit straight down to a real pinch point, the sort of chicane left-right into the looping right. Then you've got the wriggle through the infield, fast back straight, S's, last corner, pit straight. There's a lot for the fans to see. Big, high banking. You can look at a lot of corners. Overtaking is not easy, but these relatively are narrow cars. So perhaps if anybody can do it around here, it's these drivers. And also, because they're young drivers, they make mistakes. And that also peppers up the racing. If somebody clips a curb and compromises the run to the next corner, that will stimulate the activity. Norbert Haug watches on as well from the pit bunkers.
You made the point there. These are young stars of the future, aren't they, that we are watching.
And Jano Esmar has not stopped on
No.
pole position. I was just wondering what had happened to him. Well, there he is. He's either forgotten where to park or he's got a problem and he's trying to get back round to the pit lane. But what's going on? The grid is forming. We won't be able to start if he's still on the track. They'll have to get the car into the pit lane or something. But if he does make it round to the back of the grid, he's just missed the mark, hasn't he?
Yes.
He's stopped over the line and realised his mistake, so he's gone round again. But if he does...
Will that mean he's got to go to the back?
I would have thought so. I would have thought so.
Well,
So, but also we could end up with a delayed start because they can't start the race with a rogue car still circulating and effectively having a rolling start. But
another Formula.
yeah, extra formation lap. So we'll go round again.
Now, this will be intriguing for me.
Yes.
Will Esmayer be allowed to take up his P1 position? Because he's not, you know,
For my money, he should not be.
no.
My understanding is if you are the cause of an extra formation lap, your penalty for causing it is to start at the back. It happened to Louis Delatraz, for example, in the Formula Renault race at Monza. And Delatraz stalled on the grid, admittedly, created an extra formation lap,
Right.
got away, worked his way through and started on pole position and was given a drive-through because he should have started at the back. He was given a drive-through for starting out of
So
position.
the drive-through was a subsequent penalty for him not having started where, in effect, he should have started.
Indeed, but my understanding is that the officials now will tell Esmayer that he should start at the back of the grid.
Right.
But how they tell him that, because he will... at Monza,
He'll arrive, won't he?
at Monza, in this equivalent case with Delatraz, a marshal was sent to the very back to receive Delatraz and say, you stop here. If there is no such marshal, we'll wait and see. Because here is Esmayer making his way back up to
Well, he's
pole
going,
position.
Yes, he's gone past what will be the last place on the grid, that's for sure. But
And
it does say, the message now has come up on the screen.
There's yes, must start from last place. There is an official on the track. You can't see him, he's just out of shot. But there are officials waving the car to the back of the grid. But because he's missed the back of the grid, now they've opened the pit gate. He's going to turn sharp left, and I think now you'll find he will be forced to start from the pit lane. Yes, if you look now, the other official there is waving him through the pit gate. That's what I was looking at out of the window. Into the pits comes Jano Esmayer, and he will go to the end of the pit lane, and he will start from there. So, you do all the hard work, you get pole position, and then, I'm afraid, a bit of a schoolboy error.
It was, but we are talking about very young drivers, aren't we?
Yeah, and now he doesn't really know what he's meant to be doing. The team have got him to them, and they might have a quick word to say, this is what you've done wrong. Peter Mucker there, nearest the camera, looking, and everybody else at Mucker Motorsport knows what the score is. So, we're going to be down to 27 minutes now because of the extra green flag lap. 27 minutes is the duration. As I say, we've only had one race all year out of the 18 without a safety car. And let's see how we fare now with a big gap where pole position should be. Jano Esmayer is being told where the end of the pit lane is. Start there, chap. But I'm afraid that's really blown it for him. Don't drop.
No, no. No, David, I don't know quite.
Pit lane lights on red. Stop. That's good. Stop there.
Right.
Stop there.
Now we should get the start sequence, I think.
Yes, here is one we prepared a little earlier. And as soon as the last driver is in place, which will be Marilyn Niederhauser.
Just got the green flag, I can see from the
Indeed
marshal.
so. The distance. 5 red lights will go on. It's round 19 of the ADAC Formula 4 Championship. And a bad start by Joey Mawson, who bogs down. Everybody else scrabbles around. Are they all going to miss the stricken cars? Yes, it was a very quick lights out. And so it is Ericsson leading from Deans. And look at Schumacher coming up the inside as they break for turn 1. Are they all going to funnel through? So far, so good. 1 or 2 run out wide. You know, Marvin Deans then running in second place. Teammate Jano Esmayer could be in the safest spot starting from the pit lane. He gets away now. So they're all running, and amazingly, despite what looked as though it was going to be mayhem, they've all got around the first couple of corners safely, but a really good start from Joel Eriksson. He's the leader. In second spot is Marvin Deans, the championship leader. And then third is Michael Waldherr. In fourth place at the moment, it is then Robert Schwarzman, the young Russian driver. And from the pits, Esmayer is on track. And off the road already is Kim Louis Schramm. and he's come to grief through that first sequence of corners. So Schramm, podium last time out of the Saxon ring, going nowhere.
Well, at last we did get the race going then as the cars funneled through that chicane. Absolutely amazed that they all avoided those stricken cars on the grid, but they did, and credit to them for that.
So clock ticks down, 27 minutes, remember, this shortened race because of the extra warming up lap. So as they work their way now up towards the end of lap 1, the leader is Joel Eriksson, and he's getting away. Marvin Deans runs second, third is Valdher, fourth in the orange car. It is Robert Schwarzman. In 5th place should be Mick Schumacher, the leading rookie. Over the timing line they come. In the background you had Jason Kramer's Team Scheider car looking good, but the top two breaks away. The gap between them is a second as they come over the timing line. Valdher first, Schwarzman is 4th, Zimmerman 5th, 6th is Marek Buchmann keeping out of trouble, 7th is Schumacher, 8th it is Wolf, in 9th place Van Houten, 10th is Cedric Pirot, and we'll have a look at the progress that is being made by Jeannot Esmeyer down in 32nd place, and there's more mayhem that involves this time, look, down at the Hotel Curve 46, Mauro Arricchio in his Scheider car, yeah.
So the Timo Scheider run car of Arricchio in trouble.
Meantime, race leaders work their way through lap number 2, and the gap at the end of lap 1 was a second. Now, Joel Eriksson, remember mid-season, had this great pace as Schumacher gets himself 6th ahead of Marek Buchmann, but Eriksson seemed to lose out in the races at the Saxon ring. He would lead early on, Deans would catch and pass and pull away. Can we see the same thing happen here as well?
Well, Mick Schumacher then is on a charge. As we zoom in on him then, he's made up another place. Mick Schumacher then on a charge. The Van Amersfoort racing driver, of course, who had a win here at Oschersleben in the very last race of the opening round. And you would think very much a liking for this track, having taken that win. Joel Eriksson then crosses the line, has a 1.3 second margin over Deans, then it's Valdher, then it's the young Russian Schwarzman, and Schwarzman is really closing in on the back of Valdher now. Schwarzman one to watch here. A big feature on him in the last highlights program of young Robert Schwarzman, whose father is a florist, I believe, in Russia. And whichever way you look, there is so much going on. Schwarzman is one of the smaller of the guys out there, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He really is the epitome of racing drivers are getting younger all the time. And very good driver he is. As there, look, the little battle rages on lower down the order. The one that loses out is Jan Jonk. The one that gains is Luca Engschler up on the inside. 23 minutes on the clock. Lead gap going up, 1.3 seconds last time. Eriksson to Dienst. And another challenge is being made by the orange car, Benjamin Mazatis, as he tries to find a way now up past Kari Schreiner. Bit of dust being kicked up ahead of them. Replay of the start, and you see how going and then bogging down completely was Joey Mawson.
Yes.
And so he has got going, but he's down in 15th. It was light very quickly on and out, and he went, and then it just revs dropped.
Yes.
And the other one that was in the same situation was David Beckman, wasn't it? Number 5, the orange mucker car. So he's down in 21st place.
They did so well to avoid those three.
They did indeed.
Cars.
And they also did well to get round here. Michael Valdher, look, was the hero up on the inside. And OK, he elbowed a couple out wide, but they all got through. There was no clattering into each other, unlike some of the senior categories. Meantime, we're working lap number 4 now, as the leader still, Joel Eriksson, is pulling away from Marvin Deans. I'm surprised because Deans I thought would have been able to go with him. And there, Kim Louis Schramm, look, with broken suspension. You see how the car suddenly sits down. That's why he's out of the race.
Now, the Piro Sports driver, Tony Wolff, jumped the start.
Right.
And he's been given a drive-through penalty.
OK. It's a disappointment for him, as we get another replay of Mauro Arricchio going off the road. We saw that at the time. So, yes, Wolff will have to pit.
And this is Schumacher on Zimmerman now. Tim Zimmerman really under pressure. Mick Schumacher is on a charge today. Absolutely brilliant driving we've seen from him.
But doesn't it make a difference to a driver when they know the circuit? He comes here with some data and with confidence that he's won here.
Absolutely.
And it's starting to look a little bit better for Schumacher, who's been in the wilderness a touch, for example, at Spa and at the Nürburgring. He was a bit subdued. But, yeah, Zimmerman then just ahead of him. Tim's had a second place this year. Schumacher's had that win. Zimmerman's second place coming at the Red Bull Ring, and Schumacher up behind him then. So as you rightly say, this is now for 5th and 6th places, and Schumacher looking the quicker. His first year of car racing came out of karts, where he raced as Mick Bench to avoid all the attention, which was his his mum's maiden name. So as they come then down towards the last corner, Schumacher flicks it left to give himself a bit more room to use all of the tarmac, runs it out wide up on the curb, and actually it doesn't work.
That compromised him, didn't it?
Absolutely so. The gap widens coming up towards the line. Through they come. Ericsson to Deans for the lead. He's going up. It's 1.9 seconds now. Walter is still third. Schwarzman is fourth, and then fifth and sixth. Absolutely nose to tail. Zimmermann and Schumacher.
And, well, it was Schwarzman that got the back end of the car really, really sideways coming through the that hotel turn. And the man under pressure then is Tim Zimmermann, and Mick Schumacher then goes for the inside line. Didn't quite have the momentum, David.
He wasn't quite close enough to really trigger it, but Zimmermann made a mistake by going a little bit deep into the corner. So Schumacher needs to get on with this. If he gets stuck there, Berkman will be back up behind him. The penalised Wolfer to get to serve his drive-through. And then you've got Jo van Houten, the Dutch driver, running ninth. He's on for his best of the year for ninth. Never mind eighth, which he will inherit once Wolf ahead of him pits. Shame for Wolf, of course. He's running in his best of the year because of that jump start. Meantime, onto the back straight they come. Now, can Schumacher line up to make a move heading into the S's? You've got to be brave to do it. And Zimmermann is going to be able to control that line, look, as they get to the corner. Come back to the situation of slips and wings, single-seaters and dirty airflow, but Schumacher is having a real go.
He's been really, really aggressive, isn't he? He's throwing absolutely everything at it, and that, for my money, Tim Zimmermann is much smoother, and he's not cracking under the pressure of having Schumacher right behind him, is he? He's certainly been able to defend that at the moment.
Absolutely right. So the field turning its way once again down towards completion of the lap. Then to turn one go the race leaders. 2.1 seconds it is between them. So very definitely here, Joel Eriksson is getting away. Intriguing, isn't it? Because Marvin Dienst, who he's pulling away from, was a double winner back here at the start of the year. And Schumacher was the winner of the reverse grid race, because the results of this are taken for the grid for race 3 with a reversal of the top 10. Schumacher again tries to force it up the inside. The door was ajar, not fully open, and once more Zimmermann is able to defend. And actually, to be fair to Zimmermann, he's not falling away that much from Schwarzman just up the road. But again, Schumacher tries to find a way up the inside, can't do it coming out of triple. Then down towards the next right again, Zimmermann breaks late, goes deep. Road opens up a little bit for Schumacher, but he still can't take advantage.
Where Zimmermann is running deeper like that, he's almost having the advantage of carrying more speed, isn't he? And that's what's denying Schumacher, who's having to be more aggressive on the steering and to try and take advantage of any door that, as you rightly said, has been left ajar but not fully open. And he's not quite close enough to be able to seize it, is he?
Not quite. But it's interesting that Zimmermann is working hard, and Schumacher at the inside, they're wheel to wheel. Zimmermann gets forced wide over the curb. The mistakes are starting to come, and that was a good defence by Zimmermann. I thought Schumacher was going to be alongside him. Zimmermann hangs on to the place. Buckman is almost with them as well.
Of course, as this battle has gone in, Buckman has been able to get ever closer, hasn't he?
And that's bad news for Schumacher, because he's going to end up having to defend as well as attack. Behind them, Wolf is still circulating. He's yet to serve the drive-through. Now, to be fair to Tony Wolf, it's a private team. That there is very, very little in terms of personnel that can lean over the pit wall and wave him in. So this might not be all that good and rewarding in the end for Tony Wolf, because he may not even know about the penalty. There may be limited means of getting the information to him. Meantime, Zimmermann 5th, Schumacher 6th, Buckman 7th. Schumacher makes it this time out the inside. Great move. That was brave, it was forceful, and Mick Schumacher has made it work. He'd had a look there for the previous 2 laps. This time, he nailed everything to the wall, didn't he? And through he came.
He did. There was a little lock-up in so doing, but he did it, and he knew he'd got to do it because... and let's see it in replay. Buckman was going to always be on the back of those two. Yes, you're right. He'd psyched that out the last couple of times, hadn't he, and thought, right, this is what I'm going to have to do. And, well, Zimmermann could not defend that.
Good move, that, because it was committed, it was clean, it was pretty forceful, but it worked. And now, look, released. Schumacher is pulling away. So what can he do about Schwarzman? We need to see a clear lap time, but already he's lapped in the middle sector alone, quicker than the man ahead of him, so the gap is going to come down. Schumacher for 4th. Well, he's going to be the best part of 3 seconds back, and that's quite a lot of time to find.
Yes, and we have, what, 16 and a half minutes left to run in this race as Joel Eriksson, Marvin Dienst, Michael Walter and Robert Schwarzman across the timing line, and then it is Mick Schumacher P5. Zimmermann is 6 now with Buckman, Van Houten 8.
And that means that Wolf has pitted. So 9th is the recovering Mawson. There is your Van Houten, who has now got Mawson right up behind him. Van Houten locks up. His father, a former Formula 4 racer in the UK as well as in Holland. And Jo Van Houten trying to defend. Right up with him is Joey Mawson. the Australian driver of Peruvian extraction. Down the pit road then comes Wolf to serve the drive-through penalty. And Tony Wolf will rejoin, albeit a long way back, as now, look, Zimmerman has to stick out his elbows and defend from Buckman. Best middle sector of anybody in the race just done. Sorry, best first sector by Mick Schumacher. So
wow.
Illustrating that having been released, the speed is there. He has got to make up 2.8 seconds on Van Outert. He's off the road. And if we get an interruption to the race, that will really help Schumacher, because it will bring him onto the back of the train of cars. Can that car be easily retrieved? If it needs a marshal to go trackside to help the retrieval process, we'll get a safety car. Let's see. Job Van Outert is out of the race. How he got there is also a question. The last time we saw him, he was defending from Mawson. That, I suspect, is going to be up at turn 4, where Schumacher got past Zimmerman. And my fear is that he's just outbraked himself and slithered off the road. For the moment, there's no suggestion of a safety car or even of a yellow flag being shown on the screen, as into the pit lane, as just rather slowly, there you can see, come the Mucker car in the hands of Jan-Leon Schlom. Yeah, doing both this and the Italian Championship this year. Has he got slightly damaged rear suspension? Anyway, Schlom is pitting, and out of the race is Van Outert, so Mawson's up to 8th spot. But looks as though we are going to be okay for the moment. There's no yellow flag problem. There is Job Van Outert. The Dutch driver is out of the race. Let's have a look. That was the last shot we had, wasn't it, of those two? And then as Mawson gets up behind Van Outert, he makes the move to the inside. He locks up. Oh, there was contact.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so Van Outert kind of flicked off the road just as he turned in and caught the rear wheel of Mawson, who Schumacher-esque was coming through.
Yes. Well, you're absolutely right. If that had prompted a safety car, that would have really played into the hands of Mick Schumacher, who's currently running P5 and chasing down Robert Schwartzman.
Another little battle here, look, because battles are raging on right the way around the lap, and Waldherr has got Schumacher behind him.
So,
we've got a yellow flag.
Schwartzman.
Yeah, Schwartzman has got ahead, I think, of Waldherr. So Schwartzman has gone third. Waldherr is down to 4th. We've not seen how. Let's just check them across the line. Yellow flags are being shown now in that incident zone, but no more than that. It is Ericsson 4 seconds up on Dienst. Schwartzman is 3rd. This is for 4th then now. Waldherr ahead of Schumacher with Tim Zimmerman 6th, and Schumacher again breaks late. Good move. Oh. Scrambles into the corner. Makes it stick though.
Just holds on to it, doesn't he?
Through he's gone then, so Schumacher up into 4th place. He clearly likes Oschersleben.
Yeah.
He's tested here pre-season as well, which helps with the data, with the confidence. And have a look, they came over the line with 2 tenths between them. Schumacher brakes. He committed to it late, but he made it stick. More of that this season would have been great to see.
Yes.
But the young 16-year-old scrabbles up the inside, keeps away from the curb in the second element of that sequence through the hotel curve. Now, in the meantime, Joel Eriksson is just doing a tremendous job. 4 seconds ahead of Marvin Dienst, who's been the man for the last 2 meetings. Double winner at Nürburgring, double winner at Sachsenring.
Can, in the 12.5 minutes that we have remaining, can Schumacher get on the back of Schwartzman? What have we got?
2.6 seconds.
2.6 seconds.
Possible. It's possible.
Because he's quick, isn't he?
Absolutely.
He's not only quick, he's really chucking everything at it.
But Schwartzman is quick as well.
Yeah.
He has just done a lap, and this is something else to monitor, quicker than Dienst by 4 tenths of a second.
Really?
So Schwartzman is catching Dienst as much as Schumacher is not catching on that lap. Schwartzman 3,000 slower.
Right.
So Schwartzman is looking stronger just at the moment. Schumacher runs 4th, Waldherr is 5th, Zimmerman is 6th, Mawson is 7th, Buckman is 8th, so there's a reversal there. 9th is Cedric Pirot, and 10th is Janis Fittier. Nice jumbled order in this race. As you look at Mick Schumacher then inevitably drawing attention to himself. And whoops, a big slide. You weren't meant to draw attention that way though, Mick, that was the problem. Saved it nicely. Marvin Dienst is falling away. I'm wondering if Dienst's got a problem, because he's losing about 7 tenths a lap to Ericsson. He's being caught at 4 tenths a lap by Schwartzman. We get a replay here of Moritz Müller-Crepon getting up the inside at turn 1 and elbowing
really
Florian Janitz out of the way.
Shoved him out of the way, didn't he?
Yeah, have some of that. Rattles over the curb, brings gravel onto the road. there's something in my mind telling me that Dienst is settling for second and thinking about points, but he's losing chunks of time, and that bothers me a bit. Tony Wolff is back into the pit lane as well. Joel Eriksson continues to circulate. He has just notched up 11 laps now as he goes over the stripe, and just into 11 more minutes of the race to go. And you see here, I said early on about this being a real family effort for Tony Wolff.
Yeah.
Compare that to Mucker or Van Amersfoort,
yes,
when there's an army of people around.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure what it is that's caused the retirement, but disappointing for Tony Wolff. A near resident of the Saxon Ring, lives about 90 minutes away from the East German circuit. So, race order. Eriksson leading Dean, Schwartzman is third, Schumacher is fourth, Waldherr fifth, Zimmermann sixth, Mawson is seventh, Buckman is eighth, ninth is Pirro, 10th is Fittier, and lower down the order, the recovering David Beckman here is trying to get himself onto the tail of his Mucker teammate Mike Ortmann, and there's Jano Esmayer up from the pit lane, look, 15th. Yes. So he's still out of the points, but he's doing his best to get up there. And you'll recognise Esmayer in the paddock after this race. He's the one with the bruised shins from kicking himself.
Yeah, so there is Esmayer chasing down the Muller car of Beckman. And just ahead of Beckman is Mike Ortmann in the number 6 machine. So Eriksson then 5.2 seconds to the good. Dienst and Schwartzman, it's 3 seconds between them. And then it's Schumacher, a further 3 seconds behind. So keep an eye on, as I'm sure you are, on Dienst's time is still relative to Eriksson in front and Schwartzman behind. Dienst is slower, isn't he? Not by that much now, though.
No, you're right, but he's still about 6/10 or so away from Eriksson. The gap, oh, that was a better lap, 3/10 away. But yeah, I mean, the gap's 5.6 seconds. And bear in mind, these are all identical cars. Tatia's built with the 1400 turbo Abarth engines, so everybody has the same base machinery. It's then up to you to work with the engineers, the teams, to get the best out of it, as well as driver ability. Zimmermann under attack from Mawson, who gets squeezed out over the curve and has to slot back in behind him. They were never going to run side by side through there.
No, Mawson was really, really brave, wasn't he, to take a look around the outside. That was always going to be very, very dangerous, and he got away with that, in my opinion.
He did, but look how much ground he's lost.
Yes.
4 or 5 lengths even as he works his way now out of turn 4. Schumacher, meantime, getting away from Waldherr. The gap Schwartzman to Schumacher is 2.4 seconds. It is coming down, but 8.5 minutes, don't think it's going to come down in time.
Is it coming down enough? So there, the gap between Tim Zimmermann and Joey Mawson. That we just watched the Joey Mawson car there, trying to go around the outside of Tim Zimmermann, and he was having none of that, and did well to keep that out, really. And well, I'm sure Joey Mawson will go for another attack before the end of the race, that's for sure.
He's got to tow himself back up onto the tail, hasn't he? How is Jano Esmayer doing from the pit lane, still in 15th? Out of the S's they go, 8 minutes still on the clock. But Joel Eriksson, after a pretty subdued, I mean, okay, second places are good, but compared to the pace of Dienst, subdued at Saxon Ring, here, Dienst has nothing by way of an answer. Really interesting to try and find out what Motopark has done. I mean, again, it's a team based on the circuit.
Yes.
So if they know how to exploit a car around the circuit, it should be that team. But very definitely something has been unlocked compared to the last meeting. Because, as I say, although Eriksson led a couple of races, he was caught by Dienst, passed by Dienst, and fell away from Dienst. Whereas here, he's just built the gap. It's nearly now 6 seconds.
Whoa.
As there, Esmayer tries to get up the inside of Mike Ortmann, who says, oh, no, you do not. Esmayer has got himself up past Beckman, but Ortmann is a tougher nut to crack. And again, he tries coming out of Hotel Curve. This is for 13th place, and Jano Esmayer in the green and white HTP Junior Team car. Again, has a look up at 4, can't find a way by there.
Despite the bruised shins from kicking himself at the start, fiasco, he is really on a charge, isn't he? But trying his level best to try and find a way past. Joel Eriksson, though, with a very, very healthy 6-second margin, David.
And it's growing lap after lap after lap. Dienst's best hope is to match him in sectors, but the Motopark car is looking good for what would be a 6th win of the year for Joel Eriksson. He's second in the championship, so this will help just to narrow the gap a little, but with Dienst set for seemingly second place, it's not going to be narrowed by much, is it? That is for sure.
And there is Schwartzman, and Schwartzman to Schumacher. Looks like that has come down as well. And then it is Mawson and Zimmermann Volter ahead of them, of course, in P5. As once again, Joey Mawson just flicks to the inside just to try and worry Tim Zimmerman. But for the moment, Tim Zimmerman is not for shaking. Joey Mawson trying everything he can. Trying to harry Tim Zimmerman ahead of him. In the meantime, through the hotel turn was Jan Jonk running out wide. And that advantage for Jan Jonk didn't stay for long as he ran out so wide. Massety's able to take advantage. So Schwartzman to Schumacher then. P3 and P4 is what you can see on the screen, and I think visibly it is getting closer now. Schumacher is beginning to reel him in.
Last time he took 6/10 out. He's got 1.6 to make up, and he's got 5 minutes, which is going to be about 4 laps in which to do it. Possible, but he's got to catch him and he's got to pass him.
Absolutely.
So there are 2 elements to this, aren't there?
Well, certainly from what we've seen, is he will throw caution to the wind to try, won't he? Right, Zimmerman is being lined up once again. So Mawson to the outside again, which is always the hard way round, and there's a lot of gravel on the exit of that first section, and now he's trying to muscle his way through on the inside. Zimmerman holds on once again.
Zimmerman does his very best to defend. I know Schumacher got past him, and Mawson's going to try and pull the same move, and he forces his way almost up the inside, but no, look again, Zimmerman just hangs on to it. He may not have the car speed of the others around him necessarily, but he doesn't give up without a fight, does he? You
can actually see Zimmerman looking in the mirrors, moving the crash helmet, can't you, from side to side.
Yeah, and again, he's a little bit squirrely down at the bottom of turn 6 there as he tries to fight the car now up towards the chicane. But he certainly doesn't give up, and Zimmerman may only now be fighting for 6th rather than for a podium place, which he had early on, but he's doing a good job nonetheless. Mawson's still trying to recover from his duff start. Down towards the S's they come. We've got 3 3/4 minutes and counting to go. Mawson looks to the inside. Not many people have made moves into the S's. What Mawson's trying to do is continually distract Zimmerman, trying to force a mistake out of him. Challenge everywhere he can, wide in, tight out, down to the last corner, but Zimmerman knows what the game is. He moves across, covers the line. Mawson again tries to get a long run. Now it's going to be down to turn 1. He comes out of the last corner, wheel to wheel. He's on the outside line for the first element. That's probably the jeopardy place, really, unless he can get his nose in front and cut across. He's going to try and outsight Zimmerman again. They're almost clatters into him as he tries to move across. Zimmerman takes the place back. He goes into the corner a bit deep. Mawson for the inside, but no, Zimmerman again is able to check the pace mid-corner, get to the apex and keep the position. And look who's behind them. Buckman is catching up as well.
Yes, all of a sudden, Mawson's going to have to think very, very hard about defending here, isn't he? At the moment, it's still very much on attack, but whatever he's thrown at Tim Zimmerman, Zimmerman has had it covered, hasn't he?
Indeed so, and Buckman now will want to get past Mawson. Further up the road, by the way, Schwartzman to Schumacher was 1.6, it's now 0.9. Oh. So 7/10 pull back. He's going to be with him by the end, is Mick Schumacher, that's for sure.
Now, Joey Mawson's going to be shown the black and white flag for a dangerous manoeuvre.
That was the move, wheel to wheel, which I think was a bit naughty, really. If he was trying to do that to outpsych Zimmerman, then A, it didn't work, and B, it was dangerous, because if they'd have interlocked wheels, if, to give him the benefit of the doubt, he did not know where Zimmerman was, he was in his blind spot, then humble apologies. However, it looked to me as though he was just trying to outpsych him a bit. And yes, it wasn't a good move in that respect, if that is indeed what was the intention. Right, Joel Eriksson has just gone through, 7.6 seconds ahead of Marvin Dietz. They've got 2 more laps to go. And Schwartzman to Schumacher is half a second. There it is, look. Schumacher for the podium is a real possibility, but where he makes the move is going to be fascinating, because it is a hard circuit on which to overtake this. Behind them, still 5th, is Michael Walter, ahead of Zimmerman and Mawson in this special 8-wheel Tatter's built Formula 4. There's only one of them, and this is it. They are absolutely together. They have been for many, many laps. Zimmerman is trying to stretch the margin once again.
And this is amazing. This is Schwartzman and Schumacher then. And well, you just know that Schumacher is going to just chuck everything at it over the closing stages of this race and really pressure the little guy, Schwartzman, who is tiny, but full of character and full of race ability as well.
Absolutely right. And so there is Mick Schumacher heading onto the back straight. He's not quite close enough yet to make the move, but there's another lap at the end of this in which he might just be able to do it. So he has got time enough yet. And remember how he was with Zimmerman. He had a look for a lap or two.
Yes, he sort of
sussed out his rival, exactly.
Yes.
Looked at where he was weak, where he was strong, what the chances were. However, fourth is better than sitting in the gravel. So what does Schumacher do? He's out of the hunt for the championship, realistically. So here, in front of, as ever, live German television, as well as an international audience, he wants to prove that he's a racer. He goes over the line. He's still half a second back, though, onto the last lap of the race. Down towards turn one. He can't make the move there because he's not close enough. He brakes late, he locks up, he scrabbles into the corner. Will he lose time? Let's see. The gap, I fear, might just stretch a little bit as they head up towards the next hairpin at turn 4. Look also up the road, Dienst to Schwartzman. He's only 2 seconds. Marvin Dienst, last time, in fairness, did lap a fraction quicker than Joel Eriksson, but it's not been as impressive a performance. I know second is not bad, but compared to what you expect from Dienst,
yes,
not, you know, not what you've had for the last few meetings.
Well, he is certainly the championship leader, isn't he? But nonetheless, right. So Schumacher, for my money, going into that hotel turn, lost a bit, really. And he's not been as close to Schwartzman as they go through the chicane there. You can see just how aggressive Schumacher is. Absolutely bitterly determined to try and get this final podium place away from Robert Schwartzman. Then in the number 4 car, then it is Mick Schumacher. So through they go. You can see Dienst, and Schwartzman knows that he has that Schumacher car right behind him, but I think he's left it too late as Joel Eriksson takes the win. And look at that margin he has before we see Marvin Dienst P2, Robert Schwartzman P3, and Mick Schumacher P4.
And then a long wait before anybody else is 5th. Still, only now, Michael Walder is 5th, but Joel Eriksson, a very, very good drive, and he'll be really chuffed with that, not only in terms of the win, but to get back to the winning ways that, for example, we saw at Spa in the first 2 races there at the Red Bull Ring. In the 2 races there, nobody incidentally yet has done 3 in a weekend. The best anybody has done is Marvin Dienst, who has had 2 victories and a 2nd place of the weekend. That's the best. But Joel Eriksson then takes a 6th win of the year. He backed off at the end, won by 6.4 seconds. And a great job done by Joel Eriksson. Marvin Dienst, though, takes another step towards the championship.
Yes.
It's another good haul of points. And then Robert Schwartzman for 3rd. And Mick Schumacher, dare one say, the best we've seen of him since we left Oschersleben many, many months ago, because that was a real fighting drive. Yes. And, of course, he wins the rookie contest.
You're absolutely right. He provided some real heart-in-the-mouth moments, didn't he? And look how he slides that car through there. He was just, you know, whether it was tyre wear, tyre deg, anything like that, nothing was going to be in his way. He just seemed to have that utter determination, didn't he?
And look, applauds himself as he comes across the line, because after a pretty lean patch at the Saxon Ring, I think he was involved in an accident or an incident in every race, and none of them were his making, in fairness. And if he's not winning, people say, oh, you know, he's not as good as his father, but actually that was a proper good, aggressive drive. So Joel Eriksson is the winner of round 19. Marvin Dienst 2nd ahead of Robert Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher 4th, Michael Walder 5th from Tim Zimmerman 6th, Joey Mawson recovering from his POC start for 7th ahead of Marek Buckman, then Cedric Pirot and Janis Fitje from David Coltman, Giorgio Maggi, Jano Esmar from the pits 13th in the end ahead of Mike Ortman and David Beckman. Robin Brezina, Benjamin Bailly comes next ahead of Cecotto, Rogivu, Laliberti, Engschler Jr., Muller Crepon, Jonk, Mazatis, Janitz, Kratz, Halder, Niederhauser, Schreiner, Auricchio, and then out Wolf, out Van Outert, out Schlom, out Schramm from earlier on. So 3rd place, Robert Schwartzman, yet again, he is going to be on the podium. His best result has been a 2nd. He's no stranger to the podium. And the 15-year-old, a busy racer in this and in the Russian Championship, takes 3rd place behind the championship leader, Marvin Dienst, double winner here at the start of the season. And Joel Eriksson it is, who didn't even make it onto the podium at the start of the season on the first visit here, now a race winner, and in dominant fashion as well. The cars there, look, arrive in Parc Fermé, the 4, because Mick Schumacher is the winning rookie. He's not there because he finished 4th. He wins his class and straight away heads over to thank the Van Amersfoort guys.
And of course, last time here at Oschersleben, Mick Schumacher's first podium of the weekend was his best rookie. And he followed that up with a winning race 3, so we'll see where I'm going with this.
Indeed so, yes.
Pattern emerging. Now the floral pattern on the Robert Schwartzman crash helmet there is the design from his father.
But you live in Porter by trade, and the drivers make their way to the podium. But what this does to the championship is bring Joel Eriksson a little closer. Marvin Dean is still the leader from Joel Eriksson. Joey Mawson is 3rd, then it's Robert Schwartzman. The absent Ralph Aron, the Estonian, won at the Nürburgring and has then moved away from the championship, rather curiously. Yes. Jano Esmar 6th. So for some drivers, again, it was a race that was full of missed opportunities, but Joel Eriksson has done a very good job making sure that he controlled the pace and did a very, very good job early on the cold rubber as well to build the advantage over the rest of the field. Marvin Dienst, in fairness to him and everybody else, he's one of the more experienced drivers in the championship.
Yes.
You know, he's had a year of Formula BMW within the Talent Cup and then the public race at the end of it, 2 years of ADAC Formula Masters. So, you know, the fact that a 15-year-old like Robert Schwartzman or a 16-year-old Mick Schumacher in their first year of car racing are taking podiums against somebody with, what, 3 seasons or so of single-seater racing is commendable. But Dienst is the real deal at the moment. He's the championship leader. But Robert Schwartzman, very, very impressive year. And as you make the point, you know, the young driver that he is has a good future ahead of him. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
I walked past the driver's briefing at the Saxon Ring and sort of looked in and I thought, blimey, it's a children's party going on. You know, should have brought balloons.
We've got party bags.
That's right, yeah, because they do make you feel old. There is Mick Schumacher then, the winning rookie, Van Amersfoort Racing. But interesting, isn't it, in some cases, how drivers replicating good results. Schumacher is an example from early in the season. Others having better fortunes. They've been here, right, I know what to do at this circuit now. Whereas, of course, for the rest of the year, they've been learning.
Yeah.
Every venue new to them, unless they've raced in Formula Master last year.
Yeah.
So Schumacher 4th and takes the plaudits as the winning rookie as well in the first of 3 races. This is the only time the F4 Championship hooks up with the DTM. Normally, of course, it is to be found with the ADAC GT Masters, but it's having a weekend off. The GT cars go to Holland next week, and they then get back together again for the season finale at Hockenheim, first weekend in October. Joel Eriksson, replay, heading up towards the timing line to score the victory after another very commendable drive.
So Eriksson, Dienst, Schwartzman, the 1, 2, 3, and Schumacher will see on the podium as well as being best rookie. And there he is, applauding, as David pointed out, as he crossed the line.
Just makes you wonder why Eriksson couldn't do that a few races back.
Well,
you know, he had the pace, he led the race, but then it all disappeared. Up and past him at the Saxon Ring, for example, went Dienst, and he pulled away. In fairness, at the Nürburgring, Dienst was on the front row for his 2 wins, second on the grid for both. But here, Joel Eriksson looking as good as he had at Red Bull Ring and at Spa. Anyway, maybe some of that comes back to data learned from the previous visit. There is Robert Schwartzman. Yes, he is a racing driver. I promise you. I know he looks like he shouldn't be, but he is a very, very young and a very, very quick and very busy racer, part of the Russian SMP racing driver program. Mick Schumacher there in the background.
I was going to say, how crucial is it that he has that SMP backing, David, as an organisation? I mean, it's a logo we see on all sorts of racing cars, isn't it?
Financially, it's going to help. I mean, I know that there is family money to help with the racing, but also being part of a programme where there are more drivers will help to speak to other people, to gain experience. It's a bit like the Rising Stars and Superstars programmes run by the BRDC, for example. You know, you've got these other drivers within the programme that you can talk to and get advice, not only about how you drive, how you race, but for off-track things as well. You know, is that a good team to go to? Is that a good career move? Sure. And it's that extra part of it that being part of a driver programme can bring to you. But Robert Schwartzman Another impressive run to get a podium finish. There is the winner, Joel Eriksson. And in a moment, the drivers are going to be brought forward onto the podium. Marvin Dean's having a look at the timing screen to work out where the opposition may have been other than Joel Eriksson. But he's all smiles because the championship lead survives. And the drivers now being called forward. As the podium will come the race winner, Joel Eriksson, his 6th win of the year, the Swedish driver. A very happy man indeed. Marvin Deans is 2nd in the race, but leads the championship, and he makes his way out onto the podium. And then for 3rd, for ADAC Motorsport, making it 3 different teams across the top 3, Robert Schwarzman, and to make it 4 different teams across the top 4, the winning rookie for Van Amersfoort Racing will be Mick Schumacher, and he will make his way out onto the podium as well.
He's pretty chuffed, isn't he?
Absolutely. Now we'll have the national anthem of the winning driver once the motor park team is represented on the podium as well.
So standing by for national anthem.
Joel Eriksson it is then to celebrate as a race winner. The trophy to be presented by Hans-Joachim Stuck, legend of German motorsports, Liverpool free racer, sports car hero, touring car champion, you name it. Marvin Deans, the championship leader, the 2nd place driver, receives his trophy. And then Robert Schwarzman, who will receive the trophy from Lars Schatzker for his 3rd spot. As big as him, he's really big as a trophy. And then Mick Schumacher, as the winning rookie, will take 4th place. And also don't forget the efforts of those that engineer the cars. So Moto Park, Timo Karl's team, is victorious. It's Timo's father, but he's integral in the ownership and the running and the operation of Oschersleben, so his son's team is based here. And Mick Schumacher is the winning rookie. And that's the 19th race, and only the 2nd that we've had without a safety car.
So they all get together then for the mandatory photographs up there on the podium. Thumbs up from Robert Schwarzman, and they all come forward. So another good race from the ADAC Formula 4 cars. 2 more of those races to come. David said this weekend where they are away from their mates in the GT Masters, and here with DTM. So the fizzy pop is exploded across the podium.
I've got all his records, you know. And that's race 1 of 3, so expect 2 more chapters of what is a fascinating story within the ADAC Formel 4 Championship tomorrow. One tomorrow morning, one at the end of the day tomorrow here at Oschersleben. It's been a great season. Debut year, of course, for F4 in this country, taking over from Formula Master as the Formula 4 concept, pioneered by the FIA, continues to grow and become ever more popular. And the drivers then now celebrate. And Mick Schumacher making his presence felt once again in the championship. So happy scenes on the podium